Hi and welcome to vlog 3, which is about my coaching philosophy. In this vlog I aim to describe what a coaching philosophy is, whilst also giving views on my own coaching philosophy and how this has adapted throughout my experience within the strength and conditioning industry. Research has described coaching philosophy as the why, whilst describing the training philosophy as the how. For example, the why, which we'll be discussing today, coming from previous experience through practice or education, whilst also following beliefs and own values. Coaches have demonstrated that their own beliefs and values have a significant influence on the actions that they take with their athletes. This leads on nicely as to what my beliefs are, which individualise my coaching philosophy. So I have a three-step approach into my coaching philosophy. The first step being training safely, and this relates to a couple of key points. Firstly, I want the athletes to understand general gym etiquette, so where and how to spot another athlete if needed, and the awareness and tidiness in the gym. Research has also established that correct technique helps decrease likelihood of injury and aids in the development of athletic performance, particularly in the younger athletes that I'm used to seeing. I have also found from experience that how well an athlete moves in the gym is at detriment to whether they can progress effectively or not. Therefore, an important part of my coaching philosophy is getting the athlete to understand the movement pattern required and then be able to pull it off. This is then followed by a step-by-step progression system I use for each fundamental movement, such as a squat, hinge, push or pull. By taking this approach with the athletes I coach, I've found huge boosts in confidence, specifically in those who are fairly new and novices to the gym. So to clarify, the first of the three beliefs within my coaching philosophy is that we can educate an athlete about training safe, which should allow them to progress each exercise on. Then it will give them more confidence and allow for that athlete to keep turning up week in, week out. The second stage / belief of my coaching philosophy, where I can talk from personal experience, is keeping training competitive. It's in an athlete's nature to be competitive, whether they're in an individual sport or in a team-based one, and they want to win and they want to do their best. From personal experience coaching, some athletes, particularly the younger ones that are newer to the gym, aren't interested in training and instead just want to play their sport. So we know that isn't an option, so one way I like to engage the athlete more into the gym is by keeping it competitive. I set competitive warm-ups, team-based or individual, or even just set up new challenges week in, week out. I have found this automatically makes the athlete more interested, which in turn gets the athlete to buy into each session, and this maximises the potential of the athlete session by session. So here's a couple of examples of how we keep it competitive in the weight room. So this is just part of a warm-up where the athlete is paired up and has to stop the stick from falling. And here is it in more of a group environment where it's a core activation exercise towards the end of a warm-up where we would get the group to sort of go up onto each other and then so number them 1 and 2, and then number 2s would go up on number 1s, and then we might challenge them more by lifting up a hand or lifting up a foot off the ground. Alternatively, we could try and just keep it competitive within the actual training session itself. So here we've got some athletes doing some resisted broad jumps, and we just try and get them to jump as far as we can. Who can jump the furthest is the winner. The final part of my coaching philosophy is having a responsibility. As an S&C coach, I have several responsibilities that can have an impact on the athlete in a positive or negative way. Once the athlete is competent in my first two steps of my coaching philosophy, so training safe and keeping it competitive, I like to hand over some responsibility to them as a group or individual, whether this be coming up with a warm-up or thinking of different exercise regressions or progressions. From previous practice, this brings groups and team-based athletes closer together, forming more team cohesion whilst also identifying leaders in the group. With individuals, it helps develop social skills and independence, all of which they need to become a better athlete and person in life. My coaching philosophy has developed over the last 3 years, where I've been lucky enough to work in an elite football environment. Here, I've had the opportunity to coach an array of different age groups with various amounts of experience within the game, which has sometimes altered my approach in coaching philosophy. However, my experience coaching at Performance Hertfordshire is what has really ingrained my coaching philosophy. This has been working with younger athletes who are new to the gym and usually in groups where attention span is low. I feel as though my coaching philosophy can be adapted depending on the environment I work in, and I'm sure I will see this as I take the next step in my career, going to work with the professional development phases at West Ham United Football Club.